It's June 2024 as we record this, and the football world is, well, once again holding its breath, wondering what Cristiano Ronaldo will do next.
Yeah, his contract with Al-Nassr is winding down, isn't it? Expires June 2025.
Exactly. And the rumor mill is already completely in overdrive. You're probably keen to get a handle on the real possibilities, and that's exactly what we've tried to dig into.
We've been sifting through, well, everything, career timelines, stats, the latest news reports.
To try and give you a clear picture of what the future might hold for, one of the game's absolute greats. Our focus today is pretty sharp.
Mm-hmm.
What are the genuine options on the table as this Al-Nassr chapter potentially closes?
Precisely. We're not here to just rehash headlines. We want to actually understand the landscape.
Right.
So to do that effectively, we'll briefly trace his incredible journey, see how that informs where he is now, zero in on the contract specifics and all the chatter around it.
Acknowledge the inevitable speculation linking him elsewhere.
Yeah, assess his impact at Al-Nassr, which has been significant, and then, really dissect the most credible scenarios for what he does next.
Okay, sounds good. Let's maybe start by just reminding ourselves of the extraordinary career that led him here. It all kicked off at Sporting CP, obviously.
Right.
But it's that move to Manchester United in 2003 that really launched him onto the global stage. Winning the FA Cup in his first season was an immediate sign of things to come.
And that FA Cup win, it was really just the start at United, wasn't it? He was key in getting those 3 straight Premier League titles and, of course, the Champions League win.
Unforgettable.
And what's fascinating, during that time, that 2007-08 season, he grabbed his first Ballon d'Or. He was only 23.
Just 23. Incredible. It really announced him as, the best in the world at that point.
Definitely. Then, 2009, came that absolutely jaw-dropping transfer to Real Madrid.
Wow. Yeah. The fee itself, $94 million back then.
Yeah.
That just screamed global icon status.
His time at Real Madrid was, well, nothing short of legendary. They dominated Europe, didn't they? 4 Champions League titles between 2014 and 2018.
La Decima. That 10th European Cup. Huge for them.
Monumental. And individually, he was just unstoppable. 4 more Ballon d'Or, became their all-time top scorer.
Rewrote the record books.
Completely. And was the Champions League top scorer 6 seasons in a row, plus the La Liga titles, the Copas del Rey. Just sustained brilliance.
And just when we thought, okay, that's the peak, he makes that surprise move to Juventus in 2018.
Yeah, another massive transfer. $100 million initially. Showed he wanted to conquer, another major league.
And he kept winning things in Italy, too. 2 Serie A titles, Coppa Italia.
Still breaking club records, adapting again, just showing his quality. Then came the big return to Manchester United in 2021.
Highly anticipated.
Very, but that second spell, well, it had moments, definitely. He was in the PFA Team of the Year at 37, which is amazing.
It is.
But it ended early, didn't it? Contract terminated in 2022 after some well-documented disagreements.
Right, which brings us pretty much up to date with his move to Al-Nassr in early 2023. And this is where his immediate future gets really interesting for, anyone following him.
Exactly. His arrival in Saudi Arabia, as one source puts it quite well, has been widely credited for revolutionizing football there.
You really feel that, don't you? It
Yeah.
seemed to kickstart a whole wave of other big names heading to the Saudi Pro League.
Absolutely, a definite domino effect.
So yeah, that brings us right to the crux of it today.
Sure.
That Al-Nassr contract ending June 2025, it naturally creates a huge amount of uncertainty and, well, fuels nonstop speculation.
And what's really fascinating here is trying to read the tea leaves based on the info we have. It's kind of contradictory.
How so?
Well, one source mentions widespread criticism around him, doesn't really detail what that is, though, but then you have his Portugal teammate Vitinha saying very clearly he'll, of course, be at the 2026 World Cup, and he's not going to give up.
That's a strong statement. Suggests he's still aiming really high, internationally at least.
Definitely. And then another layer, a recent news report saying Ronaldo is back to work for the 2025 season with Al-Nassr, just seeing out his contract.
Okay, so that implies commitment,
Okay.
for now anyway. But the clock is ticking on that deal. So you've got these different threads, some vague negativity, this strong World Cup ambition, and him just getting on with the job at Al-Nassr.
It really raises the question, doesn't it? How do you piece that together to figure out the next move? The contract end date is the hard fact, and the speculation, well, that's just what happens with a player like him.
And speaking of speculation,
Yeah.
while our sources, the ones we looked at, don't actually name specific clubs or leagues trying to sign him.
Right.
The situation itself, global star, contract running out, it just inevitably leads to rumors everywhere.
That's a really key point for listeners, I think. As you see headlines and social media posts, remember that without concrete info in these sources, you need to be a bit cautious.
Yeah, check the source. See if there's actual evidence.
Exactly, because right now a lot of the links are probably just, educated guesses or maybe wishful thinking from fans or media.
Fair enough. Okay, let's pivot a bit to his actual impact at Al-Nassr. Because wherever he goes next, his time in Saudi Arabia has definitely been significant, marked by some pretty impressive achievements, too.
Absolutely. Just recently, May 2024, he broke the Saudi Pro League record for most goals in a season.
Wow. Still prolific.
Yeah, it really underscores that he can still score goals anywhere. And he got his first trophy with them back in August 2023, the Arab Club Champions Cup.
Maybe not a Champions League, but still important for the club.
Exactly, a significant milestone. And don't forget, he ended 2023 as the world's top goal scorer overall.
Across all competitions, that stat alone just speaks volumes about his quality and his drive, doesn't it, regardless of the league?
For sure. And as we touched on, his influence goes way beyond just goals and trophies for Al-Nassr.
Right, that revolutionizing effect.
Yeah, the consensus from our sources is that his move really helped elevate the profile of Saudi football globally. Attracted eyes, attracted other players. His legacy there will probably be seen as, well, transformative for the whole region's football scene.
So, okay, let's try and bring all this together. Let's analyze the potential paths forward, based strictly on what our sources suggest. We have the contract ending soon, his amazing recent goal-scoring form.
And these kind of contrasting narratives, right? The vague criticism versus that clear ambition for the 2026 World Cup.
Okay, so what possibilities emerge from that?
Well, one strong contender is simply renewing with Al-Nassr. He's clearly thriving individually, the money is obviously good, and he's central to this big project.
Yeah, that record-breaking season might make both sides keen to extend, you'd think.
It could. Then, option two, the distinct possibility of a move elsewhere. His drive seems to still be there, especially with that 2026 World Cup goal.
And an expiring contract gives him freedom, right? To find a club that fits those ambitions. Our sources don't name names, but the implication is he'd want an environment to stay sharp.
And that World Cup ambition, highlighted by Vitinha, that feels like a crucial piece of the puzzle,
Definitely.
It strongly suggests he'll look for a competitive place, somewhere he can stay at his peak for Portugal, whether that is staying in Saudi Arabia, maybe a shock return to Europe, or somewhere else entirely. The focus will likely be on staying elite for the national team.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, the picture around Cristiano Ronaldo's future is still, well, it's still pretty open-ended, isn't it? Mainly because that Al-Nassr contract ends June 2025.
Yeah, his impact in Saudi Arabia is clear. His performance is still incredibly high. But
Yeah.
what's next? That's the big question.
Speculation will definitely continue, but that stated aim for the 2026 World Cup gives us a pretty valuable clue about what kind of club or league he might be looking for.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. Considering his absolutely unparalleled career, his constant search for excellence, what kind of new challenge, what footballing landscape would actually be the most compelling next chapter for him?
Yeah, for a player who's already achieved so much, what move would fit that competitive spirit and maybe, just maybe, surprise us all again? Something to think about.